Welcome back to the Cinema Cult Network. I am Chris.
I'm Matt.
And I'm Honto.
And we're continuing.
Really quick, I got to cut you off.
At the name portion?
Yeah, at the name portion, because I think we should change this to Cinema Club.
Oh, yeah, right. I was actually thinking about that during the
Since we're covering Scream 4, you know what I'm talking
Should
about?
I start over? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
All
start it over.
Welcome back to Cinema Club, a high school club where we talk about horror movies. I'm Chris.
I'm Matt.
And I'm Honto, but you can't see me right now, but I have a camera on my head.
Yeah, that's weird because I have a camera on my head too.
Well, it's weird. I don't. So we're doing wildcard picks. And last week, Matt chose Heavy Metal, starring Sammy Hagar. And I chose Scream 4, the 11-year-in-the-making sequel to Scream 3, directed by Wes Craven from 2011.
Oh, wow. That's the gap is 11 years.
Yeah, 11 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I have asked these guys to do Scream 4 a couple times, and they have said no. And I was like, well, we got to finish out the franchise. It's my third favorite franchise.
To be fair, I did say I will cover whatever the hell.
You always do. You always do. Matt fought it a little bit.
Oh, I fought it. Yeah.
So,
Hato's being a little like coy, but Hato kind of fought it.
Oh, I mean, I think
it was like, hey, I don't want to watch that movie. Fought it. I won't cover anything. I don't really want to watch that movie again.
I did not say that whatsoever. I said this movie is awful, but I'll still watch it.
Yeah. And with it being my third favorite franchise, I really want to discuss it, especially before the
what's your second favorite franchise?
Back to the Future.
Oh, okay.
So I did a little reordering. It used to be Scream was second, but I think Back to the Future second. It's a perfect trilogy. So Scream 4. I want to do a few things because we have not done these on the past episodes, which is talk about Rotten Tomato scores on the Screams. Okay. I don't think we have.
We've done it for at least 3.
Okay, so let's just do a rapid fire, just whatever pops off your head. So,
we're actually gonna do that many numbers?
It'd be quick. I'm just doing Rotten Tomato scores. I'm not doing box office. So,
and I'm pretty sure on either Scream 3 or Scream 1, we did go through all of them.
I don't think we did. That was a while ago.
Yeah, I know.
So I don't think we were doing it then.
I feel like we were doing Rotten Tomatoes at that time.
But you know what? Let's just do it again because it'll be a fun little game.
It'll take 2 minutes, and it's my favorite part of the podcast. It's all downhill from here.
Yep.
All right, Scream 1. 1996, Rotten Tomatoes, Honto.
96.
Matt.
85.
79%.
Oh, wow. What?
Scream 2, 1997, Honto.
It's going downhill from there. 62.
Matt.
61.
81%.
What?
Wow.
What?
Scream 3, 2000. Matt, go.
72%.
Matt, 50,
53.
41%. And then
there we go. That's more like it.
We did cover it. We've done this before because I think we talked about this on Scream 3. Yeah.
And Scream 4 from 2011. Rotten Tomatoes. Matt, you go first.
30%.
Honto.
50.
61%. And then we will do the budget for Scream 4. One of the higher budgets. Little hint at what the answer is.
Well,
Honto,
considering I don't even remember what the other budgets are,
it's still a hint. Honto, what do you think Scream 4 cost to make?
$25 million.
Matt?
Even I was going to say 25.
You can stick with
26 million.
26. 40 million.
Okay.
And then how much do you think worldwide did it gross, Honto?
120.
150.
97. Okay. This is the lowest performing of the original 4 Screams.
Interesting.
It only made 38 million in the United States. Compared to the other 1 and 2 both made over 100 million in the United States. Scream 3 made 89 million, and then Scream 4 at 38 million just in the United States.
Is this
it was considered a box office bomb.
Is this Wes Craven's last movie?
It is. It is his last directorial feature.
That stinks.
So that's all I got. Honto, take us to the cast and crew of Scream 4.
Directed by Wes Craven. We've covered a lot of his movies on this podcast.
Dude, we have, haven't we?
Go ahead and list them.
Let's see. If I can do it from... I didn't write any of them down.
Oh, yeah. Do it.
Scream 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, okay.
This will be 4.
Deadly Friend.
Shocker.
Serpent in the Rainbow.
People Under the Stairs.
That might be sitting at 8.
We need to, this sounds really stupid.
We haven't done Nightmare on Elm Street.
I don't remember doing... We haven't done Nightmare?
No, we've done Nightmare on Elm Street 3.
And Freddy's Dead.
Yeah,
that's weird.
And Jason versus Freddy.
But we I don't remember doing Serpent. When was that?
I remember
that was the month we did Wes Craven.
That was Wes Craven because it was back to back with Deadly Friend and Shocker.
Was that a Halloween?
That was an October Scarefest.
That was a Scarefest month. Yeah.
So that might be the most covered director that we've done.
I think that is correct.
And that's the thing too, is he's got so many more I'd want to talk about. Like we need to do the original Nightmare at some point.
I mean, I had originally proposed that Christina Ricci month, and we would have finally covered Cursed on there.
That's true. See, I want to talk about Cursed.
Is definitely an episode coming.
Yep.
I want to do like a series of then I want to do like he didn't direct it, but Dracula 2000.
Yeah.
He like produced it.
Yeah.
I think we should do a month of for like October Scarefest, or maybe like a non-October Scarefest, but like non-horror movies by directors that are like horror directors. So we do like the music of the heart with Meryl Streep. Yeah, for Wes Craven.
It's supposed to be an awesome movie.
And we do like Simple Plan by Sam Raimi.
Okay.
Dude, Simple Plan's a good one.
And then we do who else we got?
John Carpenter. We
do Memoirs of Invisible Man.
Sounds good to me. I like this one.
Or Starman.
I watched it. It's a rough one.
I love Starman.
It was rough. I was so excited.
Really?
Yeah.
Music's so good.
Yeah, I didn't like it at
tight.
first. The first time I watched it, but the second time I watched it, I really enjoyed it.
It's kind of like a wonderful movie.
I know, and I feel like that should have hit me, but it just for some reason I couldn't get it.
I think it like watching it that first time. I think it was definitely. The feeling I had with it was that I was like expecting a Carpenter movie, and it's not a Carpenter movie.
Oh no, it's not.
I kind of turned off knowing it was going to be a whimsical. I think that's kind of the word. But I couldn't get into it.
Yeah, I think that would be a silly month of movies.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure we can find other directors as well. So
next up, we got Neve Campbell as Sidney Prescott returning for this fourth entry. Wild Things, The Craft, Party of Five. Have we done any movies with her?
I don't think so.
Have we done that? We haven't done The Craft.
Nope.
No. Okay, I guess I just watched that on my own then.
Yeah,
recently.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, because I thought we would that movie. I thought we would have covered by now.
Like that with Empire Records or something.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Because I feel like that's in our wheelhouse. Is that like there's it's 90s, 1990s movies and horror films.
What we grew up with.
Pseudo horror films.
Well, I know we've talked about doing it, and you've actually, Matt, you brought it up a couple of times about doing The Craft, but yeah, it's just one of those ones we haven't done yet.
No.
And I remember there was a sequel not too long ago, and I think all four returned for it.
As the same characters? Or
Yeah.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
We should
cover like super small roles. I think. I could be wrong, but
we should cover Wild Things.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
Sounds like an interesting time.
Right? I've never seen it, and like
it's not a bad movie.
Oh yeah, you watched it with Mom.
Oh my god!
No, it's not a bad movie. There's actually Bill Murray is one of the main characters in it.
It is. Yeah.
It's like a noir, because Bill Murray's like playing it straight. I don't think he's like playing a comedic acting or whatever.
I can't remember. He's a lawyer.
And it's a really good cast.
He's a shady lawyer. Yeah, basically. Yeah. Kind of like I think a Better Call Saul type of situation.
Kinda, yeah. Okay. It's got some good stuff in it. It's been years since I've seen it. But I remember.
Yeah, it's got some good stuff in it.
Oh man, keep going.
Courtney Cox is Gail Weathers Riley. She's married to Dewey Riley in this movie. Friends, 3,000 Miles to Graceland, and Ace Ventura.
Fun fact, her and David Arquette were going through the divorce during this.
Wow.
Yeah. It wasn't finalized until after the movie. So good for them.
That must have been a really fun time acting in this movie.
From what I read, they said that they were very professional and they worked together really well. So good for them.
That's good.
Yeah.
I got David Arquette as Dewey Riley. Previous episode, Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh, yes. Soon to be, what's the wrestling movie?
Oh, Ready to Rumble?
Yep. Coming soon.
Wrestling's not fake!
I've never seen it. I've never seen that movie.
It's fun.
Eight-Legged Freaks and Bone Tomahawk.
Okay.
Emma Roberts as Jill Roberts. She's kind of after this movie, she became a regular on American Horror Story.
Yeah.
I think starting with season 3 and then on. No, maybe season 2. I can't remember at this point.
I think it was 3. 3 was the witches one I never saw.
3 was Coven.
2 was the Insane Asylum.
Yeah, so maybe a 3.
Yeah, I think it's 3.
We're the Millers, and one of A24's first movies, The Black Coat's Daughter, which is an all right movie.
And she was one of the main characters on Scream Queen with Jamie Lee Curtis.
That's true. I never saw it.
She's got quite a... Yeah, I never saw it either, but she's got quite of a horror background.
Yeah. Hayden Panettiere as Kirby Reed, best known for playing the cheerleader on Heroes. Then Nashville, which was like several seasons long. I can't remember if that was a remake of an old TV show or a remake of the movie Nashville.
I can't.
I don't know.
I know what you're talking about.
Because they had
but I can't
they had
recall.
Nashville and then Dallas. They had two of those basically
Yeah.
back to back.
Okay.
I could never remember which
Hey,
one.
real quick,
I
I'm
don't
going to
know the
ask just
show.
a simple yes or no. Do you guys like her character in this?
Yes.
Yeah, she's
Okay.
pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
I'm kind of surprised that she hasn't done more. Like, I
Yeah.
feel like
Well, she-
her
on-
character.
her.
Yeah, okay.
She was on Nashville for like after this.
Yeah.
It was
after
for a
this, It was for
while.
like 6 or 7 seasons.
Yeah, but I mean, just like, and then I mean, obviously she's on Heroes.
Well, that was back in the early
that was
early
her first
aughts.
kinda gig, pseudo gig. But I feel like she should be doing like more. Like I really like her presence in this movie.
Yeah.
And she's able to pull off the dialogue a lot better. Because the Scream movies have a lot of like, I don't want to
Like-
call them amateur actors.
Like peppy, or like
but like it seems like it's really tough sometimes to pull off the dialogue in these movies.
I think so.
And there's certain characters, and we'll pick them out every now and then. I'm sure we're going to talk about it in the movie later on. But there's certain characters that's like, okay, that character right there knows how to say this dialogue.
Like they know what they're yeah.
Yeah, and it's usually the movie stuff when it's like movie geek stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's where like certain like actors can't quite pull it off,
Okay.
and it sounds really kind of like foreign coming out of their mouth.
Yeah,
Like
she pulls it off though.
like
yeah.
Sarah Michelle Gellar in Scream 2 with
Yeah, I think so. Was
where
one.
they're
I
talking
don't
about
know.
movie sequels where it's just like
Oh
you know,
yeah, that
it's
whole
the
yeah.
entire class basically. There's Pacey from
You
Dawson's.
know what? Regardless, that's one of my favorite scenes from these series.
I mean, it's fine, but it's just
I
kind of
rewatched
like
Scream 2 recently,
yeah.
and I think it was during our like judgmental days. Scream 2 holds up, but go ahead.
I think yeah. And then I was just going to mention, I feel like one of her first movies was Remember the Titans. She was,
Oh yeah, she was. Yeah.
I can't remember the actor. It was one of the coaches. It was the daughter.
Okay.
Oh yeah, okay.
Then we got Anthony Anderson as Deputy Anthony Perkins. Previous episode, The Departed.
Yes.
Then we have Romeo Must Die and Agent Cody Banks, one of Chris's favorite movies.
Never saw it. He he has the honor of being in Scream and Scary Movie.
I was about to say, I can't
Yeah.
remember. I don't think he was
Oh,
in the
yeah.
first one though, right?
No, he's in
Is he?
3.
Is he?
Which
3
is
and
the
4.
which is the non like movies. I mean,
the non-wins.
well, the
Yeah.
non-Wayans and only the first
Yeah.
scary movie was like the slasher.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And we just watched him in Me, Myself, and Irene.
We sure did.
Yes, we did.
We got Alison Brie as Rebecca Walters, Mad Men, Community, and Glow.
Yep.
She's pretty good.
Yeah.
Not a fan of her in this movie though.
No.
No.
Okay.
Adam Brody, Deputy Ross Haas, the OC, Shazam, and we just watched him about a couple months ago, The Kid Detective.
Yeah. You throw him in anything, man. I've watched this movie 3 times, and every time I've watched it, he's popped up. I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
I
think
forgot
he's
that he was-
awesome.
I forgot
And
that
he's
he was
only in it
actually-
for like a second too. I
This
feel.
movie's got a decent cast.
Yeah, the cast is
Yeah.
solid.
Then we have Rory Colkin, one of the Colkin bros, playing Charlie. Probably best known for Signs. And then he was also in an independent movie within the last couple of years called Lords of Chaos. I think it might have been an A24
Okay,
joint.
okay.
Then we have Erik Knudsen as Robbie. Best know him from the Saw series, Donnie Wahlberg's son. Saw 2 through
Really?
a lot of them.
Okay. Are you talking about the guy with the camera on his head?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. It totally is. Yeah.
I watched all of those movies last year
So did I.
during the lockdown,
So did I.
and I can't remember any of them.
Wasn't it on your Letterboxd?
Oh yeah. It would be basically
year in
you
review?
just see them all being entered in.
Yeah.
Like most of them are 1 star. I think a couple of them made to 1.5 star. So
Yeah, I have to look at it again. We were excited because we were getting ready to see Spiral when it came out.
yeah, I think that's
So
why
we're like,
I
let's
was.
go through all of them.
I think that's why
Yeah.
I watched them.
and it's very like one's good, and it's very roller coastery. That
Yeah.
whole series. Yes.
There's one. I think it was Saw 3D, and I think it's always the trend with 3D movies.
yeah,
Which I'm glad they've never done a Scream 3D.
right.
But it's always when they do the 3D, it's like, this is fucking terrible.
Except for Piranha 3D. I haven't seen it in years. That's another one. That's a next time we do Wildcard,
Is that the first movie or the second movie?
the first one.
Okay.
With like Jerry O'Connell and Eli
okay,
Roth.
so we I remember a couple years ago, and this is pre-pandemic, I think, but we sat down to watch Piranha 3D and we didn't make it through the first 5 minutes.
Did we
of it.
really?
Yeah, we watched
Yeah.
the Richard Dreyfuss
Oh,
eat it.
yeah.
And it was like the terrible CGI.
Yeah.
And I think
yeah.
we're like, let's find something else.
Interesting. You know what? It could probably not hold up. I remember thinking it was okay the first time.
Yeah.
But it was directed by a guy who did
It's
Aja, right?
Yeah, Alexander Aja.
Yeah,
who did like
Hills of
high
Eyes.
tension and mirrors.
well, I think it was supposed to be a comedy. When I watched, I took it as a serious horror movie.
Okay.
So I feel like I want to go back and rewatch it. And it might. I mean, I just kind of really want to watch it.
Yeah,
rewatch it
with
because
stuff I've seen from it. I'm like, yeah, this is a comedy.
Yeah,
I want to say, yeah, I think it's definitely supposed to be a comedy.
yeah. But I really want to watch it just for Eli Roth. But go ahead. What else you got?
Mary McDonnell as Kate Roberts. It's Emma Roberts' like mom in this movie.
Okay.
Donnie Darko, she's the mom, Mrs. Darko, and then I best know her from Battlestar Galactica, which I've seen all of it.
I know her most from Independence Day.
Yes.
Oh wow, yeah,
Yeah.
previous episode,
Yes,
Independence Day.
that's what she's from. I hate. Okay, when we do movies on the podcast, I
Yeah.
don't look up the cast and crew.
Yeah.
Same. I don't either.
So
Yeah.
it's up to me to.
I know
figure
Hanto's
out.
gonna find it. Yeah.
But yeah, I was trying to peg it. I was like, what the hell is she from?
She's the first lady, isn't she?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Then we have Marley Shelton as Deputy Judy Hicks. Previous episodes: The Sandlot and Valentine, and then she's also in Pleasantville.
And coming soon, Grindhouse. I've always wanted to do Grindhouse on this
Man,
podcast.
that might be. I don't know.
She's not in Sin City, right?
She is in Sin City.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why can't I remember what she is in Sin City?
Yeah, I remember she's in Sin City. I don't remember who her character was, but go ahead, Hunter.
I can't remember. Nico Tortorella as Trevor. I have only seen him in Odd Thomas, which I thought was a not bad movie.
Okay, which one was Trevor in this?
He's the ex-boyfriend or the
Oh,
boyfriend or whatever.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I thought he was
Um,
fine in this. I liked him. in
Yeah,
this.
he was fine.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it for like the main cast, and you got Roger Jackson who reprises his role as Ghostface, the voice of Ghostface.
Yes. Let's just before we start, let's just ask: would you guys like this movie at all?
No.
I like the third act,
Yeah, third act's awesome. I think it's
Yeah,
a really good
but
third
it's,
act.
it's mostly kind of an annoying movie.
I think it's
Yeah.
up and down. So let's.
It's up and down. Yeah. And I'm kind of still standing behind my opinion the first time I watch it.
I think that's kind of where I'm at too. I think what was better for me was the third act.
yeah, it's kind of
It's one of the better Scream movies, I think. So.
I'll say this as a positive. I think it's got the best killer motivation out of all the movies minus the first one.
Okay.
Where I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm really down for this motivation. This isn't just like, hey, Sid, your mom knew my friend once, and that friend is his life is ruined, and I'm gonna kill everybody around you
Wait,
and tell you everything.
which one are you?
again.
Is that your?
I'm just making shit up.
I was gonna say,
But
I
that's what it
have
feels
no
like.
idea.
Two, I feel like is kind of legit though. It's revenge for her son.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, but they kind of just keep doing it where I'm like,
Three's-
just kill Sydney
Three's
off.
three's the stupid one because it's like the you left me in the car when I was a boy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna kill you now.
I have a
And then-
brother.
Yeah,
And then, we'll talk about the new one here.
yeah.
But
Not to spoil 3, but who was the other killer in 3? There's
There's
always
just one
one
only
killer.
It's the only one that has one.
yeah,
Yeah, I guess it is. I don't know
Yeah.
why I always assume.
And I don't know if that's what makes the movie lame because that movie
Interesting,
is awful.
It's hit and miss. That movie's very hit and miss. That
Like,
might be.
That is 1-star territory.
I
for
would
me.
watch 3 again over this one.
but that's the thing. I've watched 3 like 5 or 6.
I don't think
Yeah.
I'd watch 3 ever again.
Really?
I could watch this over 3.
Yeah.
I think it's just they get kind of boring to watch.
Well, let's talk about this one. Let's go through the ups and downs of this one. I'm not going to go through every single scene.
Starting with a down. This terrible cold open.
I like the idea of
I
this
hate-
open.
I hate. I hated it the first time. I hate it now.
Really?
I hate the double like meta, like a movie within a movie.
We got triple kill here, right?
Yeah, it's a triple kill. It's a stab 6 and it's like stab 7, and then it's like people watching stab.
I like it. I like the humor of it. I just feel like it's a little. It just doesn't land the way I want it to.
No, it doesn't land. At all.
So basically, like you said, it's a movie within a movie within a movie within a movie within the
Yeah.
movie, and people are watching stabs, and then those people in that state were watching a stab, and I think the idea is really clever. Apparently, Wes Craven loved this idea, but Kevin Williamson's original idea for this opening that he wrote, and I guess he agreed later on. He was like, "Yeah, the meta opening was better than I originally had." Was that it was supposed to be 15 minutes long, and it was Neve being the first victim.
Oh wow.
And she fights Ghostface, and it's like a brutal attack. Like they keep stabbing each other over and over and over. And at the end, she kills Ghostface, like stabs him to death. And then it cuts to Scream 4. And then it's 2 years later, and it's her doing her book pressing.
Hmm.
But a lot of people are like, that
okay.
ruins the pacing, and Wes Craven didn't like it as much. And then the rest of the cast and crew were like, okay, the meta opening is so much better.
Oh man, I kind of want to watch that one.
I kind of like that too.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds like it was supposed to be like this. He said it was a brutal, just like everybody's getting stabbed in this beginning.
It's like they live fight in the dumpster, but
Pretty
with
much.
screaming.
Dirty son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Or dirty motherfucker.
And you're supposed to be expecting Neve to die because she's in the opening of the movie. It's like, oh man,
is that Ghostface trying to punch her?
Yeah.
Sydney,
Put the glasses on.
but it would have been cool because you probably would have expected her to die. Like,
Yeah.
oh man, she's gonna bite it. And
Yeah.
then it happens. And you're like, oh, that's a cool opening.
Mhm.
So that's the beginning of the Scream 4.
What's the opening of 2?
Oh, I think 2. I will say, I think 2, other than the original, might be the best. The movie
Jada
theater.
and-
Oh yes, it's a movie theater. Duh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be like basically the opening of 3, where like they kind of set up like Cotton's gonna die because it's like, oh, he's definitely gonna die because he's the first victim in the movie.
But that's the thing,
And
when
he's
you
not
watch
that
3,
important.
you don't think Cotton's gonna die because he became such a big character in the second one.
Oh,
I
I
think-
thought he was gonna die. Like as soon as I watched.
Oh, I
the
remember
first
even
one.
watching it as a kid. I was like, oh, he's not gonna die. It's Cotton Weary. You know?
But
I
that's
think-
how they were trying to prove the point. Like that's why that's what I got was I was like, oh, they're
Yeah.
gonna prove that this is superior by killing off a main.
I think that's
Yeah.
what I like about 2. Like 2 has some stakes because Randy eats it in that movie.
Yeah,
And
like
then-
early on too.
Yeah, it's like pretty early, and then 3 Cotton eats it, and it's like, oh wow, like that. I think the cold open for 3 is actually pretty cool,
I do like the
despite
cold
it
opener
being
for
a
3.
terrible movie.
I'm not gonna lie to
Yeah.
you. These movies are all downhill when Randy dies. As soon as Randy dies, it's like, hey, you guys kind of killed the guy that says all the dialogue.
The
like-
snappy dialogue, you know.
Yeah, and he's got all the rules and everything. And then like by 3,
because he's your comedic relief. You don't need anybody else to do the comedic
Yeah.
relief other than him.
like if you're gonna be like meta with these movies, you gotta have that character that has like basically explains everything to the audience and the other characters at the same time in
Yeah.
the movie,
Yeah.
right? But it's like they keep killing that character off or making him the killer.
They should have somebody
And then it's
replace
like they
him.
have to keep they just keep fucking replacing him.
Yeah. Like
So
get
it's like
Randy dies in 2, and then they replace him with Pacey. Then you're like, oh cool, we got a new.
Oh,
No,
there you
Pacey's
go.
season 2.
What's that?
Oh, yeah,
Pacey's in the
Pacey
second
is
one.
in
That's
two.
what I mean. Just have him replace.
Oh, you're just saying,
yeah.
yeah.
Have him tag up with the crew, and it's like,
Yeah.
you got your new Randy now.
And he's like, you guys can call me Randy. And I'm like, all right. Do
Do
you
you
guys
can even drink better than Randy?
Do you know what I'm talking about with Beer Fest?
Oh yeah.
When-
Maybe you just call me Randy, and then we'll just we already.
Yeah.
It's like, and
That way
you
we're not
must
confused.
be Sydney. It sounds like I already know you guys. Just call me Randy, and we'll pretend we'll,
Oh man, I need to rewatch that. So okay, 2 cool trivia facts I read about the first one I've never known.
Okay.
And I feel like I've known a lot about these series. So the color palette in the first Scream is based off the painting Scream with like
Yeah.
the man with like the
The,
warped face. Like
It's a Goya, isn't it?
I don't know what that is.
Like a Goya painting.
I don't know what that is.
He's an artist.
Okay.
I
Uh,
think
Aren't you
that's-
teaching art school
Not
here in a
yet.
couple weeks?
I've never heard the term Goya.
It's Edvard Munch is the artist.
Oh,
but I
it
don't
is.
know.
Yeah. Okay, but like, yeah, okay.
But yeah,
Now,
so
I,
like the
now I
color
just look
palette,
stupid.
like
now I will see myself out.
isn't that a boy going painting?
Yeah.
So yeah, the color palette in that movie is based off that painting. There's a lot of oranges
Okay.
and like blues and greens.
Yeah,
I thought
yeah.
That was really cool.
Okay.
And then the other thing, which I think is fascinating, a lot of the cast and crew on the first Scream think that Stu's character was in love with Billy Loomis, and that's the whole reason he like followed him to do all these killings.
That's
Oh,
yeah.
really?
I think like a lot of these movies is like always like a infatuation. Like
Yeah.
the partner is always like an infatuated
yeah.
character. you know?
And even Kevin Williamson said in that first one, he said that there's a lot of gay undertones in that first one.
Really?
Interesting.
Yeah. And now I just watched it like 3 days ago. I'm like, man, I want to rewatch it
Yeah,
again. And
I
look
want
for
to
these.
watch that now and like.
But the Stu and Billy thing, I can totally see.
yeah,
Because the way like Stu kind of hangs on Billy towards the end,
Yeah.
I don't know. It makes sense. I can see
And
it.
then they did it for Scary Movie.
I know, right?
Yeah. Maybe that's why they did it in Scary
It's because
Movie.
they saw it.
and
yeah.
they saw it, and like I don't think a lot of us have.
Right,
Like,
right.
did see it.
Yeah.
Really, you talked about cinematography of one. I want to bring this up real quick.
Yeah.
Hanto, you're in front of a computer. Is this the same cinematographer for all the movies?
His name is Peter Deming,
Okay.
and he is best known for
Scream.
House Party.
Oh, really?
Drop Dead Fred. Loaded Weapon 1.
For the first Scream movie, right?
Yeah. Let's see. Scream 2
Okay.
is what I'm saying.
Yeah, his cinematography.
Scream 2, Scream 3, yeah, Scream 4. Yep.
I gotta say that like it's one of my beasts with these movies is that the first one, and it might be the camera work too, which is still cinematography. It's like the first one looks so real.
Yeah, I know, right?
Right? And it's like maybe it's because it's like lit cheaper than the other ones. Or like, but like once you get to 2, it's like I feel like I'm watching a studio movie. Like
I have to watch
overproduced.
I have to watch 2 and 3 again, but I kept looking at the quality of this movie and being like, why does it look like shit? Like because it has like a haze to it.
It does. It's
like,
a very
it's very like hallmarky.
Before this one, like the one we're talking about right now, but it feels very like overproduced. It feels very, very clean. And I think sometimes too, when you layer on the soundtrack on things too much, which the movies do a lot, it doesn't feel as real. There's something like really mortifying about Drew Barrymore dying in the first scene.
It's actually kind of
it's
awful.
Disturbing looking.
But even
it looks real, but they don't continue that look through the rest of the movies.
They do violence wise, they do bring it up the kill in this movie with, I think her name is Olivia. It's the one that gets she gets killed because he's hiding in the closet. When Gail or Sydney walks into the room, you're like, oh my god, the guts are hanging out on the bed.
So we'll just kind of cut to that because not a lot happens in the first 10, 15 minutes.
It's all pretty much just set up.
It just kind of set up.
They're trying to bring all the characters back in.
Sydney's on her press tour with Alison Brie, who's the agent, right? And then you got Gail.
Dewey
Dewey's the sheriff now.
Yeah.
And Gail's bored.
Gail is now married to Dewey. I think you're right.
That's her character.
She's bored and just trying to find the next scoop or trying to get back into the limelight.
Yeah,
whatever.
And then we meet one of the new characters is the deputy played by we just spoke about her,
Marley Shelton.
Marley Shelton.
Which I like her character,
Judy Hicks.
Yeah, I like Judy Hicks. I like her character. So
me
we
too.
have all these new characters that are introduced, and then the whole reason that Emma Roberts is like pretty much she's Sid's cousin.
Yeah.
And she's kind of like the main character of this movie, kind of. I would feel so, right?
They kind of paint her as the nice girl.
Yeah, she's like
weird.
the Sydney of this one.
Yeah.
She's like the main character, but I feel like Hayden Panettiere.
Yeah, I felt like she was kind of
Panettiere or Panettiere. But like I feel like she gets
Hayden Panettiere.
She gets more of like the speaking in this movie. Like I'm kind of surprised, spoiler alert, but I'm surprised she dies. Like when she gets stabbed at the end, I'm surprised she died. And I was like, oh, like because she kind of did it was like an off-screen death. Like
she got like a like the typical Dewey where he gets stabbed, and then survives.
Yeah, and she gets a lot of the dialogue. Like
she does, and she gets a lot of the good dialogue. Yeah, I think it's because she can pull it off. She can pull off.
She should have been the new Randy.
She kind of is, if you think about it.
But they kill her off again.
Why do you keep killing them off?
They kill off Randy several times in these movies. Every time there's a Randy, they kill him off.
They do, actually. That's a really good point. So we meet all these new characters, and then at this point, I don't think anything else happens, but they have cops stationed outside to watch over her.
Because they got calls from Ghostface earlier.
A lot of the girls are getting calls from Ghostface. So while Emma Roberts and her friend are upstairs, their other friend lives right next door, goes upstairs, and they're just kind of talking, having back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
And
this is where I think Kirby gets a call, maybe? I can't remember.
Yeah, and then you think like the killer's going to be in that house with Kirby.
Yeah.
And it turns out the killer's across the street.
Well, it's clever because she's like, I'm hiding in the closet, and then she's like, bullshit, you're not there. He's like, I didn't say it was yours,
Yeah.
Like,
and actually, this is a pretty intense scene.
It's pretty good. Yeah, I like this one.
And then for them to be like watching across the street as it happens, and they're just like helpless. It's really like, oh man, this is a horrible. But I think what happened
could have been better. Go ahead.
I think it's fine. I think it's a good scene.
I just think it's lame that they're just watching like, oh no, our friend.
I also think there was something cut. But go ahead.
You think so? Okay.
I think that something was cut because he obviously like cuts her stomach when he throws her out the window halfway, so she's leaning there, right? And you see him cut her stomach, and then the girls react to it, and then when they show her body, it's on the bed, and
it's kind of like what they did with
right? I think there's a shot in there, and I don't know. This is just me guessing. I want to say her guts fall out
maybe
when she's outside the window, and that's why the girls react.
Because
and they cut that for MPAA reasons.
Chris, you're like the Randy for this entire franchise. For Casey's death, was there like a version where they like actually show everything? Because it's like him just killing her.
I think it was. I don't know for her, but her boyfriend.
That's what it is.
Yeah, that was stuff taken out.
They show that for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I do see what Matt's saying, but I don't think it was cut. I think they just cut out a few seconds before he actually did something.
Yeah.
I don't think he would have.
They just wanted to show like the off screen or like hear the sound effects of something happening.
And it looks bad too. Like when she finds her body on the bed.
I think
it looked pretty. I thought it looked kind of goofy.
I thought it looked. Yeah.
I think it's actually a very disturbing scene.
I would say it's probably the most disturbing kill in the entire movie.
Yeah, because there's like
between
blood.
that and Trevor.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
We'll get to that because I have a few comments on it, but I feel like it looked kind of fake compared to Drew Barrymore's death in the first movie.
Difference between that is that one's inside and one's outdoors.
But it's the way she's like once again, it's like I don't know if it's the effects. I don't know if it's the lighting.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the camera work or a combination of all
lighting.
But she's so like ghoulish looking when they basically push the camera forward on her and then it says scream, right?
Yeah.
That's like, oh man, it's really disturbing. But it's like they just don't pull off that level of terror throughout the rest of the movies.
I hear you on that.
I don't know. I think it's a very disturbing scene, and
it's okay
because most of the deaths are usually
But see, that's the thing.
It's just your opinion versus mine. I'm not.
Yeah, and I'm not.
Sway you
I find violence like I'm like a normal person, so I'm like, oh, it's kind of gross, and you might be like, oh, that's really cool.
Keep upping the game.
I want to see,
yeah.
you know.
But shouldn't they? Shouldn't they up the game?
I think they
if you're 4 movies deep in this, don't you think people should they should up the game with these kills and like?
Oh, I think they do. I think there's a more disturbing kill in this movie. I think there's 2 more disturbing kills.
But it feels like when Hayden Panettiere. I'm gonna screw her name.
I'm gonna say
Panettiere.
Panettiere.
Every time, like as soon as they get to her like getting killed, they just like cut away because they're like, who cares anymore? Like,
yeah, it's just I actually thought she survived, and then
it's
revealed that she died, and I was like, what?
But it's weird too because there's several people who get stabbed the exact same way and don't die.
Same with I mean, we'll get to it, but like Adam Brody, same thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Which is like, oh, did he survive? Or?
Well, originally he was the 3rd killer.
Oh,
from what I read.
What happened?
I don't know. I think it was early in the script. I don't think they filmed anything, but
because I feel like now's about the time when you have the 3 killers
exactly
compared to the last one, which is 1.
Yes,
you know.
But yeah,
so I think we're still waiting for that.
It was in the script, but they took it out. But
yeah,
that's all I know as far as that details. But yeah, jumping around. I guess we can kind of go to the killing of Alison Brie's character.
Yeah, which is
Sid's like it's like her not
publicist.
Like her her
Rebecca
agent or
Walters.
publicist. Yeah. This scene's fine. It all takes place in a parking garage. Very reminiscent.
Even I mean, like the tension is cool, but the death is lame.
Yeah. Well, the tension reminds me 100% of Maya from Cursed. Do you remember Maya?
I don't remember anything.
Okay, that was like 20 years ago, right?
I've seen it once.
Right. Maya was in a parking garage with the werewolf.
Okay.
And it just reminded me of it. There's a very similar scene of being chased in a parking garage.
Oh, I know what you're talking about now. Yeah.
But then again, you can only be chased so many times in a parking garage. A la Urban Legend with the Dean. Remember that one?
Yes.
Yeah, that one's lame.
Yeah, it's...
the aesthetic of this one actually kind of reminded me of Drag Me to Hell when she's getting about to have that fight with the old lady.
Oh, yeah.
But it's fine.
Yeah, I think the brutality is there. When he runs up and stabs her, it's actually very disturbing because it's a very like forceful.
I feel like once again though, then they bring it up in this movie when they're talking about the Saw movies, and they're like, yeah, like the Saw movies suck because there's characters that are dying that have no backstory. You don't really care for them.
Yeah.
I feel like Alison Brie's characters like that. There's a lot of characters in the movie where they die instantly, and I just don't care about them.
Yeah, I can kind of see the Alison Brie thing where it's just kind of like, let's kill off Sid's publicist because she tried to like manipulate her or tried to, you know,
like make money. I think make money off of
because once again with Scream, going back to the original,
something about that movie just works.
It works, man. But there's
I don't know if it's I don't know if it's just small knit like cast of characters, or what.
It's I watched it like I said a couple days ago for like the umpteenth time. And like that's like a 98% movie for me.
That movie's incredible.
Yeah, I might even give it 100 because I can't think of anything I don't like about it. But yeah, it's a great movie.
Oh yeah, I think it's a great movie. I think it's why I look at the rest of this franchise as just like a waste of time. 'Cause
Like,
it's like,
you
man,
can't stand, you're not at the same height as.
yeah, like you can't even hold a candle to this torch.
Yeah.
But nobody dies after Drew Barrymore until I'm trying to
It
recall
might be
the first movie.
It might be the principal.
Who dies after Drew
Yeah.
Barrymore? Is it the principal?
Might be the principal.
So
yeah.
essentially, we get like what, an hour's worth of a movie before anybody else dies.
Yeah, maybe
again?
like a half an
You
hour.
get an attack.
Oh, I guess so.
It's
you
not
get-
a very long
It's like
movie.
45 minutes.
Yeah.
It's probably
You
like
get-
45 minutes.
So like Drew Barrymore dies in the first movie, and then I think there's an attack on Sydney.
Yep.
But the death doesn't come until the principal,
yeah,
because it's
yeah.
after the students scare. They're running in the hall.
Yeah.
He has a pep talk with them, says they're expelled, and then he gets killed, and then goes to the party. And
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
like when all the rest of the movie happens.
But it's
Speaking of, did you see Henry Winkler's statue? In
I
this movie?
did. I was going to
Wait,
say something to
what?
you guys about
There's
it.
a Henry Winkler statue in the school.
Next to her locker. You can see it's like it's in the
Ah.
foreground of the camera, so you can make out his face, but
Yeah.
it's not like
Nice
It's not like-
continuity.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
super
cool little
I like
throw in
that.
there. Yeah, that was pretty
Nice.
good.
But yeah, so it's like we have like a huge gap in the first Scream movie where no one's dying.
Yeah.
And I feel like the rest of the movies are always like, we got to
We
kill
gotta,
somebody every
like-
15, 20
Yeah,
minutes.
we don't know how to like do good enough dialogue or like world building or character building that we actually have to
Yeah.
just kill people
Yeah.
off that we don't care about.
Because I don't think we have another death here for a while. Actually, now that I think
it's,
about it, because it might be the cops that it happens to. That might be the next.
I think that might be correct. I think it's
Yeah.
Alison Brie, and then they kill
Well,
the
Gail gets stabbed.
Gail gets stabbed.
Yeah.
in the,
Which I do like this because like she basically stabs Gail not to kill her, but to like just to kind of like name her.
Yeah,
And that way she can write a book with her and get fame out of it. So that I thought that was like that's
yeah.
really cool. They don't
Yeah.
say it,
okay,
but that's
Oh,
totally
that's a good-
why,
yeah.
that's totally why she doesn't kill her. That's why I like the motivations of this. 'Cause
interesting.
I hate when the killer is killing everybody except for the main cast just because they don't want to kill off the main cast.
Right,
You know?
right. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
But yeah, that's totally why she stabs her in the
Okay.
shoulder.
That's
to
cool.
knock her
Didn't even
out.
think about that.
That goes up
Yeah.
another % for me. Thank you.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of cool.
But yeah, we can go to the cops thing if you want to, because
I think this is the scene when I can't remember who dies first, but this is where Jill's mom, Sydney's aunt, basically dies.
I think the cops died before her.
It
don't
might
they?
be, yeah, it might be before.
Yeah.
but, I
But
can't
either way, it's in the same
Yeah.
area.
remember.
But yeah, you got Brody and Anderson. They're both cops, and
And-
they're doing the
oh, man.
stakeout.
I hated this the first time, and I hated the second.
It's
time.
weird. Okay,
Yeah.
so they make all
Yeah.
these jokes.
It's actually
And-
kind of fun or cool though, because they're kind of, you know how like these movies they always talk about like the horror movies and stuff. Like,
Yeah,
the traits, the trends, the characters. They're doing a version of this, but with like cop movies.
it's cool because Adam Brody's like, yeah, he's like, we're gonna die like one day before retirement, or, he's like,
Yeah.
or I got
Yeah.
a kid on the way, or something like that.
Not unless you're Bruce Willis, you
Yeah.
know, and this is like
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think I like this dialogue
I
going
like
back
it,
and
yeah.
forth.
But
Yeah.
I hate the delivery of the line when Anthony Anderson dies.
Well, okay, so
Yes.
Brody walks around the house, comes back, checks on Anderson, gets stabbed in the back. And then I think in maybe one of the most disturbing deaths in the entire franchise, Anthony Anderson gets stabbed in the forehead, which
Yeah.
is insane. I think this is such a disturbing thing.
It's like just spraying out.
Yeah, this is the most disturbing death in the whole movie.
and I read
And then it
that
gets ruined.
Well, I read that Wes Craven read about this guy who got stabbed in the forehead the same way and
Oh.
drove himself to the hospital. And that's when he's like, okay, I'm going to put this in my movie.
Okay.
So he's like, he said he knew it was capable that someone could talk and function afterwards.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, it is so mortifying to watch. And he's like covering his face with blood. He's falling to his knees. And then the line, F Bruce Willis pops out. And you're just kind of like,
it's a little cringy.
It was almost the best death in this entire franchise, and then they say that.
yeah, it's very disturbing. And then I like the humor in the Scream movies, but I've seen this movie 3 times and that line just doesn't land for me, unfortunately. So moving on to go through the movie. And then we have like the attack around Sid's house with Sid's aunt.
Yeah. This is my favorite kill of the movie.
This is okay.
Not bad.
The way this is choreographed
yes.
is done really well because like they both try to hold the door from Ghostface coming inside, and then Sid's like, "Put your back up against the door" or whatever, and so she puts her back up against the door, slides, and then they think Ghostface runs away, and then she gets stabbed in the mail slot.
Yeah.
It's a very like unexpected thing. It's done very well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like this scene because it's unexpected. And then we catch Sid, who gets chased around the house, and she goes on the roof, and she's getting chased by Ghostface.
Why is Sid not carrying around a gun at this point in her life?
Right? By the fourth one, you think maybe
Well,
even
because
by
if you remember after that third movie where she leaves the door open,
the gates open, she's okay
like,
now.
She's like, nah.
I
You
don't
know,
know.
and she's about
Yeah.
to turn on the alarm. She's like, nah.
Nah.
Yeah.
And I might be getting things mixed up, but around this same time, while Sid's being chased, I think we have the Stabathon going on.
Yeah,
It's around the
Stabathon
same time.
Well, the Stabathon is where
Is this after Sid
Yeah,
gets
this
chased?
is after the stab.
It's
Okay.
where Gale gets stabbed. Is the Stabathon because they're infiltrating the because it's supposed to be the party that's like
Yeah,
the climax
yeah.
of the movie or whatever.
So
and then something big happens that we didn't mention is that Gale saw she had cameras I think posted.
yeah,
She saw a camera that wasn't hers, so she's like the killer's filming everything.
yes,
And they had a whole thing when they went to was it Cinema Club?
Yeah,
Yeah,
They're talking
Cinema
about
Club.
how like how that one character is documenting everything
Mhm.
and that everything's being uploaded to the web, basically like in real time to like YouTube or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like almost like a red herring where it's like, oh, maybe it's this character.
I feel like they
Yes.
don't cash in on that enough. Maybe it might come from the fact that like it's older people making this movie that like
Yeah, they
they
don't know how
really
the
don't
technology works.
Yeah, they don't show YouTube or anything like that or like the internet. Like the way they're like, yeah, we're gonna be broadcasting everything.
I guess they have more people seeing like live.
Yeah, like a
Olivia,
live there should have
Olivia
been
getting killed live.
there should have been
Yeah.
a live kill.
Yeah,
Like it should have just been a live kill. Like
yeah, or like almost
uh,
all of the kills should have been like live. or
yeah,
something.
and it's gonna be broadcasted on Facebook or
Yeah.
YouTube or whatever.
Yeah.
And they should have cashed in on it, but they don't really go the internet route with anything. They just say
kinda
that they're
switch
streaming
gears.
stuff.
They kind of switch gears with like the whole motive at the end.
Yeah.
I feel like.
I feel like this movie, if it was made 3 years later, I feel like they would have pushed more for that technology.
Yeah,
But-
because I think YouTube was like relatively new in like 2005, 2006.
Yeah.
yeah.
So I think it wasn't as big as like Twitch streaming wasn't a thing
Mm.
in this time.
Because that's
you
the
know.
thing too. It's like the Scream movies have always cashed in on whatever the technology is at the time, right?
Right.
I think except for 2. 2 doesn't really have anything that's different. Probably because it's so close to 1.
Yeah, I think it was like back to back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's like I mean, obviously with like 1, it's cell phones.
Yep.
Like the idea that no one has a cell phone. I mean, at one point, somebody becomes a suspect because he has a cell phone.
And 2's caller ID.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
true.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, so it's kind of weird that they don't really kind of go that route of like, hey, there's stuff that's streaming live on the internet that's really pushed for that.
Yeah. So yeah, so they have this whole like Stabathon party, which is cool because I like this movie at this point where they're like, all right, basically we're trying to remake the first one,
Mhm.
and this is supposed to be like the big party where everything goes down. And so yeah, I like the atmosphere of this party. I think it's
Yeah.
really cool that they're in.
I wish it was a bigger set piece or like we spent more time here.
I agree too. But yeah, this is where Gale gets injured.
She's
because
and then she's kind of just out of this movie.
she is. Oh, she's in the hospital for the rest
until
of this
the
movie.
very end, basically.
Yeah. But at this point, like to go back with Sid running around on the roof, Sid takes off, right?
Now tell me this: the roof doesn't happen until when they get to Kirby's house, right?
Oh, that's later on. I am getting
Yeah,
that confused.
yeah,
You're
yeah,
right.
okay.
Okay. Yes.
I
You
think
were
with
100%
Gosh,
right.
I think-
I just watched this movie an hour ago and I forgot that.
I think
Yes.
with the aunt, the aunt dies, and then I think they realize that the party is going to Kirby's. I can't remember how she like gets there.
Yeah, but then
basically.
Sid takes off for there. And because that doesn't the sheriff, they're like, oh, Sid just took off, blah, 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 is dead.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. So now we're at the final act of this movie, which I do agree with Honto. I don't know how much he likes as much as I do, but I really enjoy the third act of this.
They're actually pretty good.
Yeah. There's a lot of good talking in this. I love because this is where you get a lot of Kirby talking with the group.
Yeah, and she's like really able to pull off this
yeah.
dialogue and like sounds legit.
Yeah, and there's a lot of interaction. So much happens in this last like 20, 25 minutes. I won't go step by step. But basically, spoiler alert, the killer's there. People are running around, getting killed left and right. You have the one kid who's
Charlie,
from
I
Saw
think.
2.
Yeah, Charlie.
He goes outside, he gets stabbed and murdered.
And then I guess they're talking about one of the rules where it's like can't kill gay characters.
And then he like stops, like, wait. He's like, I'm gay. He's like, if that makes any difference.
Yeah, and then he ends up
And
getting
then he
killed.
ends up getting killed.
But I actually like the kind of the start of this where they're all hanging out. It's like the core group of kids or whatever. They're hanging out, and then Trevor shows up, and they're like it's like a constant question, which is actually pretty good. Where like, who invited you?
Dude, it happens a couple of times. Like, yeah, Kirby says that. She's like,
you kind of think that it's like him just being kind of like a
creeper.
Like a creeper just being like, yeah, I'm here, whatever. Then it like it's revealed like, oh yeah, like Jill texted me or whatever.
Which she did on purpose.
Which is actually pretty good.
Okay. So it's like, once again, they don't say that's why, but like that is.
But it's actually like, this is why I like this third act, because it's like bringing them all together for like the small group party or whatever. But I like the whole interaction of like, you're trying to figure out who's who. And then, you got this thing with like, oh, Jill texted me, and then it's all kind of building,
Yeah.
The pieces are finally moving to figure out who's the killer.
And it's done really well too, because Emma Roberts disappears, but you don't think anything of it.
Because you're like, you've been following her this entire time.
Yeah, you don't think anything. I think that's a really cool, like, throwing her as the killer. But then we do have
Rory Colkin's character.
Yes, and then he gets tied up, much like Drew Barrymore's boyfriend in the first one. And so we have this whole like, let's play a game. Or not, let's Saul.
Live or die, make your choice.
Characters welcome. So the killer asked Hayden Kirby all these horror movie questions, and I think we have them pulled up. What was the first one was...
Sorry, left that page a long time ago.
I asked you to say that.
Keep talking, I'll bring it up.
I think with a scene like this, though, I would love to see the one time in these movies where somebody gets all the questions correct, and the killer's like stunted, like, oh, you got him all right.
I will leave you alone. I think the first warm up question is like, what is Jason Voorhees use as a weapon?
Yeah, it's like all the horror icons.
Yeah, and I think they say machete.
Yeah,
which I feel like is a loaded question, because he pretty much uses whatever's around.
The peeping Tom question is like loaded
too. That's like what?
Is that the warm up question?
No, that's the one that
that's when it counts.
She gets wrong, because then they do the bonus round.
The question is, what's the first slasher film?
The first slasher, she said Psycho, and he's like, wrong.
Yeah, that's Peeping Tom.
And that's debatable.
I think that's pretty good.
I think it's debatable.
I think it's pretty good.
Because I don't know. I mean, nothing against Peeping Tom. I love that movie.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't like throw it in.
It's a good way to just make sure the killing continues.
Yeah, yes. to trick her.
Because he could have easily said, Black Christmas, but if she said Black Christmas,
Yeah, and technically, like, Texas Chainsaw Massacre is not a slasher film.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a comedy film, apparently.
Yeah, it's a comedy. I don't know. We've talked about this with Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, basically, so like,
but we brought up about that.
She's being asked the question. So, what are the weapons of choice?
Yep.
And then it's what's the multiple choice, the movie that started the slasher craze.
Yep.
Halloween, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Last House on the Left, or Psycho. She says Psycho. It turns out it's Peeping Tom. And then bonus question, it is name the remake of the groundbreaking horror movie in which the villain, and then before he can finish villain, she starts naming off all these movies, basically.
Which is a total dig at like how many remakes there were up to that point.
Dude, it's insane, because she goes on for like 15 minutes.
I think it's Halloween, Texas Chainsaw, Dawn of the Dead, Hills Have Eyes, Amityville Horror, Last House on the Left, which is funny because that's Wes Craven, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, My Bloody Valentine, When a Stranger Calls, Prom Night, Black Christmas, House of Wax, The Fog, Piranha. It's one of those, right?
It's a weird, because usually when they talk about these movies in Scream movies, they talk about what's like relevant,
right?
And it's weird because this is like the only like Scream movie where they're talking about these movies that are relevant, but they're all old titles.
Yeah.
So it's weird that they're not like it's essentially it's the same when you think about how many remakes there actually are.
Yeah.
I remember what it was. We did a whole slasher special. And we talk about how the slasher films really don't start until Halloween, because that's when the craze kicks in and that's when the title kicks in. So anything before Halloween is forfeited, right?
But Black Christmas is pretty solid, though.
It is. But like they technically,
but I guess like with a mask, I guess.
It's like it's something weird.
I don't know. I haven't seen Peeping Tom, and I will say Peeping Tom's probably the first slasher.
But we talked about like that golden era of slasher films starts with Halloween craze. And goes up.
The golden era, yeah. But I would still say,
because there's still a gap between Black Christmas and Halloween, because I think Black Christmas is 74 and
Yeah.
Halloween's like 79.
Yeah.
And Texas Chainsaw 74.
78.
Okay. Yeah.
So
it's
there's
like-
still-
and
yeah.
Howard's 78. And then Peeping Tom's 60. And I think
Psycho's like 68.
no, Psycho's 60 as well. I think
Is
they
it?
came out. I want to say they either came out the same year or one of them. They might have came out
Yeah.
the same year. I think Peeping Tom
60.
came out first.
Yeah,
16,
60.
Yeah. But she ends up losing because she doesn't let him finish the question. And Culkin ends up dying. She rushes out to save him. Turns out Culkin is the killer.
Well, yeah, I think he counts it as right because he doesn't die here. He's just
Oh, yeah. And she runs out to save him.
he's just
Yeah,
sitting
yeah.
here. And she's like, I won. I
Yeah.
effing won.
Yeah. It was one of those,
I won,
right?
I
Yeah.
won.
I won.
But then, yeah, he stabs her and
Sorry, babe.
yeah.
Probably kills off one of the best supporting characters. in
Wes
any of the
Craven has
movies.
hinted that he's like, you don't really see her die, so I'm not going to say whether she lived or died. So he kind of hinted that she
Sucks. They
lived.
should have brought her back.
Yeah, she died.
Dude, she
Yeah.
could have like.
I think he hinted that she lived, but yeah.
I'd be all on board if she led the next movie.
A
They
lot of people
really-
wanted that. David Arquette fought for that for her to come back in the fifth one.
Oh, it'd been awesome.
That he really wanted. Courtney to be
Really?
in that. Yeah.
Dude, because they really got to retire Neve Campbell. Not that she doesn't do a good job. It's
Yeah.
just that like this point she's bulletproof.
yeah, yeah.
Like,
Yeah. No, it's fair enough.
and I mean,
Um,
obviously they got to retire all those characters. It's
Yeah.
the only slasher films like in any form where like that many characters just keep getting carried over
Mhm.
Right.
into the
No,
next
for sure,
movie.
for sure.
Um,
And then we kind of get to like the last like 20 minutes of this movie where it's revealed that it was Emma Roberts and
And-
Culkin. They were the two killers.
they're not in love with each other. Or
I think
think
he's
they
in
are.
love with her.
Oh, okay, not vice versa. Like,
Yeah, because then she
Yes,
kills him.
yeah,
I think she kind of tricks him into doing all the heavy work. 'cause
Yeah.
pretty good.
let's be honest, Emma Roberts is a really tiny girl.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's times when like it's kind of goofy, but there's times when she's throwing Neve Campbell around, and Neve Campbell has like a good foot on her. Like,
yeah, yeah.
Dude,
And
she threw
and I was
Alison,
like-
she threw Alison Brie off of a building.
Right,
yeah, and I
yeah.
was like,
She
Yeah.
carried the body, whether she was still alive or not.
Yeah, she
It-
carried. Yeah,
regardless of like how strong she is, she kind of shows it when she's trying to rip the tape off of her dead boyfriend, and she's having trouble like ripping the duct tape off. So I'm like, she's having trouble with that. She's probably having trouble dragging Alison Brie's body through a parking garage and throwing it
Yes.
off.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's some disturbing scenes here because they tie up the boyfriend,
And it's like they're recreating the first movie
Yeah,
with the dad
yeah.
tied up.
and she shoots him in like the groin thigh area,
Yeah.
and then she
penis.
No, I
shoots him
think-
in the
I think
head.
in the pee-pee.
Or, like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she shoots him in the head, and it's brutal. Like it's a very
Yeah.
disturbing.
And they're gonna set him up with the killings.
Yeah.
They're setting him up, and then she stabs Rory Colkin
in the
Rory Colkin and stabs him, and she's gonna set up the killings on these two, right?
yeah.
Dude, as like if I Detective Matt, if I walked in the scene, I'd be like, why is that man shot in the penis? That's my first question. And I feel like that would ruin her entire story. And she's like, oh, he was coming towards me and I
Yeah.
shot him in the penis. And I'm like, well, who dragged his body into the living room? Because there's obviously blood smear marks all over the floor.
Right.
Who shot that man in the penis? Like,
Yeah, it's the new Hercule Poirot. Like
yeah,
Poirot.
Hercule Poirot, like
I must find this man who got shot
the,
in
the
the penis.
little gray cells tell me who shot this man in the penis. Like, it's so
The killer is in this room.
like it's just a goofy.
I don't think it's goofy. I think
I
you're
think
looking way too much into it.
It is pretty silly. Where
Because
you know,
it gives it away immediately. I was like, why would anybody shoot this guy in the dick other than his ex-girlfriend? That's
Oh,
standing
see,
right in
I
front
don't
of me?
think so.
Like,
Yeah.
That's not what I would see. I would just say you got shot.
Dude, can you? How many like? No, I don't know, man. I'm not
I think you're
buying
thinking
it.
way too much
How
into
many,
it.
like,
it's
but-
a little silly, especially if like he's dragging blood and like DNA across from the closet all the way to where he died.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, they
just-
drag, and for some reason they drag his body at one point into the living room after she blows
I
his
don't
brains out.
remember.
They drag his body, and I'm like, why did you drag his body?
Yeah.
So it's like all these. It's like immediately, if Detective Matt walked on the scene, I'd be like, who shot this man in the penis? Apparently, in these movies too, everybody is a like great headshot. Like they're all great shots. They can shoot in the head, like
It's
no
pretty-
matter how many yards away, right?
Yeah.
Unless it's like absolutely needed.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
Dewey can't shoot anybody in the head. for
Oh
some
no,
reason.
he's
You know, it's
Terrible
weird.
shot.
You will criticize a movie like this. I'm just playing devil's advocate.
yeah.
You'll criticize a movie like this, but then we'll talk about like Friday 13th Part 6 or whatever. And you're like, yeah, and then Jason pushes the guy's head through the camper, and it makes like this face to the camper.
Yeah,
wall.
I know,
a
but
great scene. Like, how is that okay? And
because
then,
okay, that's okay because it's he's
supernatural-
essentially a monster.
A supernatural being.
He's killing. So your mind is in that space of like, this is like absolute fiction. It doesn't matter what he does. If he splits somebody in half with his bare hands, I'm gonna buy it, right? Which he's basically bent somebody backwards in that movie as well.
yeah,
It's tough because you watch a scene like this and they're trying to set up logic. They're trying to set up logic for the character and
of like recreating or creating a
Yes.
crime scene.
like she's literally going through this painstaking monologue saying like, this is how I'm going to set it
Yeah.
up so I can get my fame. And we're going to make it look like he killed him. He killed that person and this person and this person,
Yeah.
this person. And that's why he's here. Right. So they're trying to set up logic. And then it's like, you can't help but like, but who shot that guy in the dick?
Right.
Like if you walked in on the scene, like,
I think you're overthinking it.
I don't know. I
But,
just think that's what just would give
I
me
do.
like,
I do kind of agree.
that's my red flag immediately. If Detective Matt was on the scene.
I mean, she could easily just say, "I learned in defense class if I get a hold of the intruder's gun, shoot him in the dick."
It could have been a lucky shot. I think it's in his thigh. I don't even think it's in that area.
Oh,
No,
it's for
it's
sure.
definitely his-
It's
I
for
think it's
sure
his
his
thigh.
PP.
I think it's
Yeah.
his thigh.
She's dude, it's his dick because she says like, this is what you get for cheating on me.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, so she ends up stabbing Sid, thinking that she kills Sid. At this point, everybody's dead except for her. And then she does like a fight club,
Oh, right.
and she like throws herself against the wall and tears her hair out with her ex-boyfriend's
That's
hand.
nasty.
This whole scene of her like going crazy is a really cool scene that she's like, I'm gonna sell this.
Because she runs,
Yeah.
she has the knife and she runs into the wall.
Yeah.
Wow, I do like that.
And
I
then
think
she
this whole
does the,
scene is awesome.
She does the like, no, and
Yeah.
throws herself into the table.
Maybe myself and Irene.
Yeah.
But is this supposed to be funny or serious?
No, I think it's supposed to be
I think it's supposed to
serious.
be serious.
That's
I-
what's kind of weird about
I
this
saw
movie.
it. I saw it as serious.
Yeah.
Okay, because I was laughing
Oh, okay.
when she threw herself on the table.
I could see that.
Yeah,
I think it's supposed to be so ridiculous that I could see you laughing at it, but
yeah.
They should have played the Dust Brothers from the Fight Club soundtrack. That would
Nice.
have
I'm
been pretty
kicking
good.
my own ass. Do you mind?
I think it's an awesome scene. Cops show up. Before the cops show up, she actually plants herself to look just like Sid,
Yeah.
which I think is really cool that she's like this into like selling it.
Yeah. Yep.
And she ends up going to the hospital, and she gives herself away when she states that she got stabbed in the shoulder and it matches Gail, so now they can write a book together.
Right.
And Dewey
yeah.
kind of puts this
Boy.
together, when he sees Gail, and she's
Like,
like,
how'd she
she
know?"
know? Yeah. But what's really cool is I like the reveal of when Dewey's like, hey, he's like, Sid's gonna be okay. She pulled through, and you can tell she's like, what? Like,
okay.
great. I think this is really cool.
Just staring out into the abyss.
Yeah, just like the like crazy.
Joygasm. So, is that Ren Stimpy?
I don't know.
I think it's
Yeah,
Ren
it sounds like Ren and Stimpy.
So Emma Roberts gets out of the bed and she intends to go kill Sid.
Yeah.
This whole fight happens.
Man, her plan. I mean, I guess at this point, letting her live and then even saying the Gale thing, she just like her
Yeah.
whole plan just
It's
completely
done.
filtered.
Yeah.
That's why it's stupid. She goes through all these, like
Yeah,
all this trouble.
what an
Like she even
idiot.
cleans the knife off of the handle so her fingerprints aren't on it.
Yeah.
But like that guy's
I
brain
think-
matter is on the other side of the floor, even though somebody dragged his body in the living
And his
room.
dick's on the other side of
Yes.
the room.
His dick stuck in a ceiling fan.
Yeah, I think the trend with this movie is that they're all so proud of what they did that they always reveal themselves or ruin their plan.
Yes.
And I think that's what happened here. She was so proud of the story that she created that she said the whole Gale thing and then she completely ruined it.
Yeah.
She would have just said, cool. We're
Yeah.
fine. Maybe the whole Sid thing, that kind of that kind of complicates things. but,
Yeah.
But there's that.
we'll worry about that later.
But yeah, so she like tries to like save her plan, tries to kill Sid. Deputy Hicks comes in, Deputy Hicks
Judy
comes
Hicks,
in.
yeah.
Judy Hicks. She comes in, tries to save the day. And basically what ends up happening is Sid like takes the paddles and shocks Emma Roberts' head. She falls down. And then I think does Sid shoot her in the head?
No, she didn't get shot in the head. She gets shot in the chest.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
does get shot in the chest.
And
yeah.
it's not multiple times, just one
It's
time.
Sid that shoots
This
her,
was
right?
our
Yeah.
first non-head. This is our only non-headshot to a killer.
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
whole franchise, right?
Yeah.
And after she ends up killing Emma Roberts, and kind of like it's kind of like a dark line.
No, there's before this though. I hate this is
Hicks.
This is like the trio of stuff I just hate in this movie.
Like Hicks when she stands up.
Yeah,
and she's like
she's
like wear a vest, protect your chest.
yeah, and then just collapses, and it's like,
yeah.
God,
I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
God damn it!
It's weird. I think that's
I
like
hate it.
this is why I hated it the first time watching it. Was that it's
that
they-
the Bruce Willis.
They take the reality stuff out of it, and
Yeah.
it's like there's this weird comedy in this movie
that
just
shit does
doesn't
not
work.
exist in the first movie.
No.
the comedy-
Nor the second movie.
But that's the thing is all these movies have comedy aspects.
they do, but they're not terrible.
But okay, so here's a comedy that works. It's goofy, but it works. Remember at the end of 3 when Dewey is trying to kill her brother and she keeps shooting him in the chest.
He's like, oh, come on,
Come on, yeah.
on,
And like he's like he gets shot like 8 or 9 times. He keeps
Yeah.
like going on and on. Like
Yeah.
that's funny. Like that's goofy, but like
because at this point it's like, okay, yeah, he's just wearing a bulletproof.
it's realistic.
vest, you know.
Yes.
But like even in 3, going back to 3, there's a part where he's chasing down one of the actors, Ghostface is. He's like, "Oh, you motherfucker!" And then like,
Oh,
gets
yeah.
done, and it's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, come on, it's a
Yeah.
serious
Oh,
moment."
I think it's a funny.
It's
I like
serious.
that scene.
It's
I think it's
serious.
funny. Okay. But yeah, Sid has this line, and she's like looking over at Emma Roberts, and she's like, "I don't know about you, but," and I don't can't remember what she says right here at the end towards her, but it's kind of like a dark line of like, Hunt, if you could pull it up because I think it is worth mentioning. I hope
Oh,
so.
that she got the fame she was looking to get or something.
I can't remember what it is, but it's probably not gonna be worth it when Honto finds it. He'll be like,
It's kind of cool though because the movie exits on all the reporters
I think this ending
saying
is
the false,
awesome.
yeah,
I
saying
think
the false story.
This ending is so cool because they're like, it shows like 8 or 9 reporters that's going down the line. And, you got it.
She says, "I don't know about you, but I feel whole better."
Yeah, and
A
it's
whole
like,
lot better.
yeah, and it's kind of like a dark like scene of like Neve saying that to her cousin who she just killed.
Yeah, it's really dark. Yeah, I thought that was dark when
yeah.
I watched it
Yeah.
too.
But yeah, it shows like 8 reporters outside the hospital, and then it cuts to like one of them when they're like, and they're talking about Emma Roberts' character, and they're like, our surviving heroes inside rescuing, and we're all rooting for her. And then it cuts to like her dead on the floor in the
Yeah.
hospital, and that's the end of the movie.
Yeah,
And you're like, oh man, that's a really like,
Yeah,
I like that
I
last.
do. I
second.
really like this ending. And instead of like, hey, let's play Moby. Let's go ahead and exit the Moby.
yeah.
Yeah,
Born,
and the
and it's
character-
the Born Identity. Scream boy.
But that's Scream 4 from 2011. All right, let's hear it. Honto, I'll start off with you. What do you got? It has a 61 on Rotten Tomatoes.
Probably like a 55
Okay.
to 60.
Okay.
It's
I always give you the higher one.
It's-
Whenever you say, I'm going to
it's
give you the
better.
higher.
It's better than a 2.5, but kind of lower than a 3-star. for
Okay.
me.
Okay, so 60%.
Yeah, 60% ish.
Okay. Do you like it better this time than you did originally?
And third act's better. I hated the movie entirely the first time I saw it.
Yes. Okay.
But yeah, there's lines of dialogue that it's too funny. Like they do too much comedy in this movie.
Yeah.
It's the third act that's worth it. That's about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I will it's 61 on Rotten Tomatoes. I'll give it a 70. The first time I saw it, I was so pumped to see it, and I remember like, oh man, that's what we waited 11 years for.
Yeah.
And then
That's
I
crazy,
watched it.
11 years.
And then I watched it like a year ago. I went through the whole series again, and I was like, okay, this is better than I remember. And I think it's actually aged a lot better when it's talking about the remakes. And I think it's cleverer than I just think it's aged better in general. I think it's one of the better in the series, so I will give it a 70%. Matt?
40%.
Really?
Yeah, it's low
Yeah.
on there, man. I hope I don't have to watch this movie again.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know. I understand.
Would you guys watch it again?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure I will watch this at some point.
If I
again.
was like invited on a show and that was the movie, I would watch it again, but probably not.
yeah,
Okay.
I'm sure I'll go through the
Um,
series again and I'll rewatch it then.
Yeah.
I just don't like this movie. I think it's just kind of a flat note in the franchise. I wish I think it would be better if it was made a few years later on.
Yeah. I think. Yeah.
And I think like if they would have cashed in a little bit more on the internet YouTube stuff. Also, like because it's like they start to say it at the end, like this is kind of the beginning of people trying to be famous on the internet, like just in society in general.
That's like that's
Yeah,
that's
right?
an excellent thing because
Yeah.
I mean that's like you bring up a great point. That's like
That's what they're
the
trying
whole
to do.
Twitch, YouTube personalities and
Yeah.
like the influencers.
Uh-huh.
Like that
Yeah.
would have been perfect now.
And that's what I'm
Three-
saying.
so
That's
that-
why I think the movie's ahead of its time.
That's the problem. If it was 3 years into the future and they made
They
this
would have
movie,
gotten it better.
they would have done her having an Instagram account. They would have probably been like, oh, she wants to be an influencer. And then it would have led more into the end of the movie when she's like, I'm doing this to be famous.
Yeah.
The problem is like, it just doesn't cash in on like the technology at the time. Like it needs kind of a young voice
Like you can't be that
to write it
You
or
can't be
direct
that
it.
pissed off that your cousin's like
Or
a
produce it.
survivor, you know?
Right.
Yeah,
right.
it's
Like,
weird.
I don't know. I agree with the social media, but I can't buy her just growing up and being so pissed
Yeah.
that she's not as famous as her
Yeah, so-
surviving cousin or whatever.
40%. I wish the movie would have done what it should have done, but it doesn't, and it just kind of turns into a cash sequel. And it really, you could remove it from the movies and just do 1 through 3 and 5,
Yeah.
and it'd be fine.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
the
agree.
only connection to the 5 is Shelton,
Yeah.
right? Marley Shelton, Marlene Shelton.
Marley Shelton.
Actually, there's
Yeah.
quite a few, and actually, it's going to bring us to our point. Spoiler alert: our next episode will be a now playing on Scream 5. That's kind of why I chose Scream 4, is so we
Yeah.
could talk about 5 because it would have been kind of goofy to skip
Good,
it.
good lead up.
So that's Scream 4 from 2011. I think for me personally, I'm glad Wes Craven went on a higher note, because I feel like a lot of directors, the older they get, Matt's giving me a weird face. The older they
Because
get,
I feel like we just talked about how bad this movie was.
I gave it a
You're like,
70.
Wes Craven went out on a high note.
I said of a higher note, because
Higher
a
note
lot
from
of
what?
a lot of directors don't get a chance to go out on a higher note. Because
Okay.
I mean, he was 76 years old when he
Yeah.
made this, which is, or no, he died at 76, so he was in his 70s at some point.
Okay.
But like I heard, like
one probably. then.
My Soul to Take, which was before this, I heard is not very good. That's like the only Wes Craven I've never seen.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he goes on a semi-high note, and at the time, I think it was a good ending, because I think, do you guys think it's better than 3?
Yeah, I think
No.
it's better
Really?
than 3.
I said no.
I think,
Okay.
I just said it. You could remove. I would like want to remove this movie. I think
Oh.
I
1
wanna-
through 3 are rewatchable. I don't think 4 is a rewatchable.
I want to
movie.
I want to remove 3 because 3 is one of the worst sequels I think that's ever been made.
Yeah.
Ever been made.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe we should do an episode on Scream 3 again.
Or Mission Impossible 2.
Yeah, actually, I would love to do that because I don't really
Versus
think
episode.
that movie's that bad.
Oh, it's bad. It's horrible.
Regardless, I'm really glad that you guys let us do this. I've been wanting to talk about this for a while.
I'll watch
Yeah,
anything.
I know.
You're welcome,
And
man.
I
Happy birthday.
Well, we got to do Mr. Stanley Hagar over here. So yeah.
Lochnar over here.
So we will have a now playing. Honto, do you want to announce your wild card pick, since that's kind of that'll be the next official wild card episode?
Or do you
I'm
wanna-
excited. I'm excited to hear it. I've been waiting. No. Go ahead and tell. I've been patient. And
Yeah, but like, why would we announce it? Wait, no, don't, because then people would think the next episode was his wild card when it's not. It's a now playing. So you should announce it at the end.
no,
of now
because
playing.
these are coming out kind of back to back anyway. So Honto, I've been
Matt.
patient.
You want to hear this?
I don't. I
Just
actually
tell
don't
no,
wanna
because
hear it.
people want to know. Just what's the wild card? Just tell it. That way people can watch it if we're getting
It's
geared
Chris's
up for it.
birthday, so
Y'all ready for this?
I'm excited.
We covered one of these movies in the first season.
It's not Problem Child 2.
No, it's not.
Okay.
We're gonna do Three Ninjas Kick Back.
Ooh,
Oh my
okay.
God.
Family action movie.
Oh, God.
I think I've seen this. I think
I saw this a lot when I was a kid.
okay. Now, do you like this movie?
I can't remember. We'll find out.
Oh man, it's one of those.
We're gonna find out
What?
together.
The only thing I remember is they replaced one of the kids, didn't they?
Maybe Tum Tum. I can't remember.
I was thinking it was Tum Tum, but yeah.
Oh
'Cause
yeah.
I think
you're
Tum Tum
right.
went from like a black-haired bowl cut to like a blonde-haired
Yeah.
I don't know, whatever.
It's been a while since I've seen that.
18-year-old.
Yeah.
Tum
Hey, I'm
Tum.
Tum Tum. Where are my jelly beans, Grandpa? So
So that'll end wild card.
I went through so many movies.
I thought it was
I
be
went through
Problem
like a
Child
flow
too.
chart of movies of like
Yeah.
a Venn diagram. Like maybe this will good, maybe this,
Yeah.
trying to figure out.
It's a lot. It's intense. There were
I think
so many
saw
things I
this
wanted to
movie
pick.
once 30 years ago.
It's so weird to hear.
Happy birthday!
Yeah.
We're watching
Probably.
it.
Hey, it's your birthday too.
When did this movie? What year is this movie?
It
I'm gonna say
is-
96.
It is 94.
94. Okay.
Holy crap!
So Three Ninjas Kickback will finish off wild
I'm
card.
very excited because like Wild Card Month is like.
Oh,
when-
we're watching this together too.
Oh yeah,
I think so
yeah.
too. I
Just
agree.
us
Yeah.
three,
Yes.
but
Yes.
us three are gonna watch it together.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So yeah, I'm excited to talk about that, and then we'll follow.
We get some Little Caesars. We get some PBR.
Oh man.
Ooh, like the old days?
And we fall asleep during the movie.
Exactly, dude. I'm pretty sure the first time we watched Three Ninjas, I fell asleep on top of Honto.
Oh, we absolutely.
And me and him napped together for the last 10 minutes.
You guys did.
And Chris was pissed when the credits roll. He's like, "You guys missed the end of the movie."
And then in the background, like boing, 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 boing.
Jelly beans.
Jelly beans. Hey, Grandpa, have some jelly beans for good luck.
Jelly beans.
So
Well,
I'm very excited for this.
I look forward to watch it. Yes,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
yes,
wow.
we will need to watch this together.
What a rough month, guys.
No, it's
Hey,
not.
it's wild card month.
It is.
Anything goes.
Right now, at this point, we're 2 for 2. So join us next episode where we cover Scream 5. Spoiler, we've already seen it, and I'm very eager to talk about it. And then we'll follow it with Honto's wild card of Three Ninjas Kickback from 1994. If you have any requests or any comments or anything at all you want to let us know, you can hit us up on Facebook or you can email us at
cinemacultpodcast@gmail.com or hit us up with a voicemail on anchor.fm.
And as always, thank you so much for listening to this. We love doing it. We hope you love listening to it. I'm Chris,
I'm Matt.
And I'm Honto.
and we'll see you next time.